now we want to continue working on this wheel arch here, because if we look at our reference image at the front, it actually curves in quite a bit at this point here, and it curves in a little right here as well. So we need to make more adjustments to the front to make it match this shape a bit better. And to do this, it's going to be easier if we hide all these back vertices. So we're just going to press Tab and 7 to go to top view, Z for wireframe. And we're just going to select one of these vertices, B to box select, and get a lot of these. Probably this much is good. Press H to hide. So now we just have basically the front of this wheel arch here. So we're going to grab these bottom two, just select one, hold shift, select the other, go to front view by pressing 1, and drag these in to match the reference. And do the same for these next two. Select one, I just did circle select to get both of them because there's one behind this one. And drag them in. And we can also at this point just drag the rest of these in too. We can start pulling these in to match a bit better till we have something like this. That looks pretty good. And looks like from top view, like these probably should be out a little more, so we're just gonna adjust these a little. Just whenever you're moving these wheel arch ones, you always want to move them in pairs. So like these two you should always move together. These two should always be moved together. You always want to move these in pairs so that they stay at the same X value. You don't want to mess those up because the wheel arch is typically flat, or it looks quite flat. Like if you look at the wheel arch in any of these pictures, like this side is really flat, and that's the way you want to keep it. You don't want to have any sort of curvature there, or it's not going to look correct. So now we can press Alt H and unhide this, and I'm just going to press A to deselect. And now what we want to do is get started like bringing this towards the front to make this crazy shape here. So the way that I found was easiest to do this is we're just going to start with, let's get a good image here. Alright, so we're going to start with this part, which you can see goes down and follows down to the bottom of this. And then the bottom of the car, which we just pulled inward, makes up the bottom of this line. And then these two wrap around like this. And that'll give us the outer shape right there. So we want to start up here, go down to the bottom, and then wrap it around like that. And I actually found in this reference, this line's incorrect. Like this should not be like this. It should actually be angled down to the bottom, just like we talked about. Because if you look at the real car, like it's clearly going straight down to the bottom. And the way they have it is actually going into the middle, and that's not the way it goes. It actually goes down to the bottom. So when you have these reference images, you have to realize these are not perfect. They're not intended to be perfect. You need to use them the best you can, but realize that they're not, perfect schematics. So don't rely on them 100%. You have to, if anything, the real world image is correct, because this is the real car. It's going to be correct. This may not be. So if there's a discrepancy like here, the real world car is always correct. So don't follow this line if you don't think you need to. So if you weren't following along, all I did was select these two by selecting one, shift select this other one, E to extrude, right click to cancel, then I drag them over with this green arrow. And I positioned them correctly, made sure that they were the same Y value by snapping them, by holding control, grab Y, hold control, snap them. So that's where we're at this point. We're going to select both of these, go to front view. Strange that they're kind of Oh, that's just because we angled this before. But anyway, we're going to pull these over, and we want to make sure they're the same X value too. So we're going to grab this one and snap it to this one so that they're the same X value. And then we're just going to select both of them, press E to extrude, right click to cancel, drag them over, drag them up a little. And in this reference, actually, you can see, I'm just going to get these out of the way for a second. You can see that this is kind of angled, like this. So we want to make sure that these are kind of angled like that. So we want this one up here, and we want this one like over here, basically. And that'll help us bring this up this way. Just going to get rid of this cursor. So we're going to select both of these again, and actually we want to try to keep an even thickness, so we want to make sure the thickness here is the same as over here, so we want to make sure this is a little skinnier. E to extrude with these two, bring it up to basically here, kind of angle it a little better, and then grab these two, E to extrude, and bring it to the top. And we're going to make sure these two are even on the Z axis, so I just grab the blue arrow, control, hover over this one, let go. There you go. We're going to have to move these on the Y axis now, so we're going to select all these with C for circle select to get all these, then right click. Press 3 to go into side view. And this is actually the very outer part, remember, because we were following along, where is it? The very outer part right here. That's what this piece is going to be, so make sure you're following the very outer part. So these need to be over here. I'm going to deselect these with C for circle select, middle mouse deselects. Bring these over, and that matches up pretty good. So that'll give us this. We have a little shape here. To start the rest of it, I'm in side view by pressing 3. This piece here comes down to meet right here, which you can see from this picture again. This is a good picture. Right here, where this line is, perfectly comes to where this should be. So this needs to go all the way down to here. So we're going to select this vertex, E to extrude, bring it over here. That's where this goes. And we're going to make this a quad, so we're going to select these 4, press F to make a face. There we go. We can bring this one down to here, even though it doesn't really, there's no line like there is right here, but we can still use it to connect to there if we want to. But actually we're going to wait on that. What we're going to do instead is we're going to bring these top vertices down to make this line. So we're going to go to top view with 7. Actually front view is easier, so just press 1. And we're going to select all these vertices that need to be brought down, and press E to extrude, right click to cancel, drag them down. And this line is actually really straight. Right now our vertices are a little bit curved, as you can see. To make it straight, we're going to press S, Z, and then 0. Scaling by 0 will make all of the vertices perfectly in line. And then just reposition them. And then these last two we want to select and drag them over slightly to match with our reference. And now what we want is, we can look at the reference real quick. We have this crease in the front. Usually to make these creases, really all you have to do is make an extra set of vertices. And this extra set of vertices will also help us bring this part down to where this part starts, to where this crazy curve starts. Because you can see that this crease is a little bit higher up than where the curve starts, which is where we're at right now. We're a little bit higher up. So we want to select all these, E to extrude, right click to cancel, drag them down. And in this case, what I'm going to do, instead of following this line, I noticed it actually works a little better if we just use these two right here to start going down this way, which is the way that the car goes anyway, basically. If we get in real close, even though that there is this line here, but it still starts to curve down this way from this point. So doing it this way, it's going to work out a little bit better. Maybe, I don't know if I kept these straight like that. We're going to just keep them straight on the z-axis, just snap them, and we'll see how that looks. What we actually need to do is move these forward, so we're going to go to side view and start bringing all these forward. Just going to select all of them at once and just bring them forward. And then select these and bring them forward a little. Maybe I'll bring these down some, this set of them. And again, I noticed that these don't really match up, like the references don't really match up. So we're just gonna do the best we can and kind of ignore the fact that they're off by a bit. That's just gonna be a reality for us. So now we have that crease. You can kind of see it. You'll see it better when you can see we have this crease, but you'll see it better when we get more geometry here. So again, you know, 2 sets of vertices, that's how you make this crease look, basically. So now what we want to do from front view is take these two and just continue this down by pressing E to extrude, bringing it down to here. And it's going to eventually connect into this. But we're going to press 3 for side view and just reposition these. Something like this. And this vertex needs to move, and I think it actually is going to join with this one. So we're going to hold Shift, right click, and then Alt M and choose that last. That will merge those together, and we'll have something like this. The reason this one's like by itself is because actually the way this goes is like, let's see if we can get a good picture of this. I don't remember which one I was looking at. Okay, this one's okay. This one you can kind of see it. You get this inner part, which is that inner part that has no friends right now. It's by itself. This is that inner part, but when it gets down to here, it actually flattens out. It basically flattens out. And it's not like this bottom crease. It's actually this like top part. This inner part, the innermost like white part. That's where this is. So this needs to continue on and then flatten out, basically. Not entirely flat, but it needs to come down here and flatten out and just follow along to help make, again, this crease that we have. You can see kind of the crease around here where it's all highlighted. It's all white. The light's reflecting off of it. So we're going to press 1 to go into front view. We're going to press E to extrude. And down here we kind of want it to flatten out. Like you can kind of see it where it goes with the reference. It goes basically here. You don't want it to be totally flat. Then we're going to press E to extrude, bring it over. Something like this. E again. And then E again, bring it over here. We can adjust this if we need to. We're going to need to move these forward, so I'm just going to, you know, move my view around. You don't have to be in front, side, or anything like that. Just whatever view you want, bring these forward. Actually, I'm going to bring these two together and just bring them forward. Something like this. Good enough for now. So we're going to select these two and these two. Press F to make a face, and now we can select these two. Press F, F, and F. And there we go. We have something like this. So that's looking good. Now we need to fill in this space here. This can be a little tricky, I found, because if, for example, if we go Control R and add a loop cut here, look at how the shading is now. It's nice. It looks good. If we add a loop cut in, though, it actually like gets darker and it looks bad, because you can see now it's darker. Doesn't look good for whatever reason. I don't know why that happens, but that makes it a little more difficult, because what I was originally going to do is just bring this over, make a loop cut and bring this over, but it doesn't look good. So we may have to try something else. But for now we're going to press 3, go to side view and Z. We can see we need to continue this down to make these points. We need a point here, need a point here. So we can do Control R, add a loop cut here, slide it over, then left click to confirm the position. And we can just use G and then G to vertex slide this, G to vertex slide this. I'm actually going to bring this one down a little because you can see it kind of curves down like this. And I'm going to vertex snap it on the y-axis to make sure that they are perfectly in line. Then we're going to take this vertex, E to extrude, right click to cancel, and just bring it up to where it needs to be. So now we have this, and this, which we can make a face with because this needs to connect down here anyway. So just select these 4, press F. And we can see now we need another vertex here. So we're going to do Control R, left click, right click, and select the rest of these. Make a face with F. Same here. There we go. There's that. Looks fine for now. Once we start connecting these, it gets a little screwy. So we're actually just going to pull some of these out a bit to give it a little more curvature. That kind of helps make it a little better, make it look a little better once we get the rest of this filled in. Assuming I can figure out a good way to do it. One way that I did it is I added more vertices, like right here I added a loop cut, but that adds in quite a few vertices. But still looks better than I think doing this does. But I'm going to try this real quick. And if I don't like it, so this is kind of a test right here. Actually, you know what? I'm going to Control Z that and see how many faces we have to fill in. Because we can actually do it like this, but it looks bad. See, this is what I'm talking about. When we start to get to this part, it looks really bad. That looks terrible. So, just going to do Control Z a bunch of times. And the way I kind of fixed it was just Control R, add a loop cut here. And select this vertex, E to extrude. I think I brought this down like this. Actually, let's look at what I did to make it look a little better. That's not the one. Must be this one. I thought it was number 4, but I guess it's this one. Alright. So yeah, that's what I did. I brought this down. Kind of like that. It looks okay. I mean, it looks better than the other version. So let's go to this. Something like this. So E to extrude, bring this down, and we want to do Control R and make another point here. Bring this one over. And now we're just going to start filling things in similar to how I did here with these 4 points. And then these 4 points maybe. See, this point goes up to there. Okay, so this point goes up to here. Alright, let's get rid of these 2 points by deleting them. This point goes up to here. So select this one, E to extrude. 1, 2, 3, 4. Press F. 1, 2, 3, 4. Press F. This one goes down, E to extrude. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here again. And how did I fill in? So I did add some loop cuts there. We're going to add 2 here. So Control R, add 2. And just fill this in until you have all of it filled in. Still looks bad, but the reason this is going to help is because Yeah, that looks terrible. Is we got to pull these out. We got to pull all these out on the x-axis. So that's why this helps having this extra edge here, is because it gives us the ability to curve it more and make it have some better shading over here than what it does. That may be curved a bit too much though, so we're just going to have to adjust these until we get something we like. And the shading looks okay. This looks bad actually. It's really pinching right there. On this one it wasn't so bad, but it's more of a straight shot. So let's see what happens if we make this more of a straight shot like that. Not quite. Let me adjust this one some. That looks better. That looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. So I'm gonna bring these in too because I adjusted that one and brought it in. So something like this looks decent, except for this looks pretty bad now. So this is just basically a guessing game until you get the shading to look a little better. But I think maybe for now we'll call this one good, and I'll come back to this point. So let's go ahead and just save this real quick.